Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Legacy Builders series. I am your host, Ace Randall. Thank you guys for tuning in. Those that are watching on Facebook and on YouTube, if you can share with your followers as you come on in the room. I do apologize if it seems like a little bit stagnant of a delay, but I am here with you guys. As you come on in, I just want to kind of give you an inspirational thought. I have been looking at a lot of things that's kind of going on in the world, and we're looking at the different lootings and things that's going on in Chicago and a lot of the other cities around the world based off of different issues or what have you. And, people are just making a lot of unwise decisions. And we look at, we don't consider the responsibilities of our actions, of what takes place. And when we make decisions, it is a result, when we get the results of those actions, we cannot, point finger or play the blame game based off of what is taking place in the results of those actions. I'm going to pause here for just All right, you guys, I do apologize. We had a little technical difficulty, but we are back. Had a little bit of a slight delay that was going on there. It was kind of moving a little backwards, a little slow, but we're still fast streaming ahead. So let's kind of dive back into that inspirational thought before I introduce our guests. I was talking about how what's going on in the world right now. We're dealing with issues with people looting and breaking into people's properties and destroying businesses. And, people are being arrested and being shot and going to jail and getting maced, and people are being hurt. And we don't really realize the consequences of our actions when we make decisions. And decisions is really, really important to life, and what will set you up for your future or for your demise. I'll give an example about my own self. I had a situation that I ended up having to spend a moment in jail because of a license issue, and I was ended up driving on a particular night, and I had a feeling that something was going to go bad, and something was like, stay home. God was like, stay home. And I was being asked to do something. I really didn't feel like I like doing it because I felt like a nervousness about going. And so when I ended up going, sure enough, I ended up making one stop along the way. And as I was leaving that one stop, or what have you, I was on my way to the next destination, and I ended up getting pulled over, and ended up finding out that I had a warrant for a ticket or what have you, and I end up being arrested, and they end up having a no bond hold on me that I end up having to stay even longer to wait for my court date. Now, for one, the bad decision was already to drive on a suspended license prior to getting that ticket. Then on top of that was when I heard the warning. When I heard the warning, and I did not, and I did go out there anyway, I end up dealing with the consequences of my actions. What am I saying in this? Anything that you do that's positive or negative yields consequences, and it yields positive or negative results. And so, if when it comes down to you building legacy, when it comes down to you pursuing after your goals, dreams, or passions, or what have you, when you don't move on that, there is consequences to that. There is, you can delay your life, you can delay your next level of provision, you can delay the connection that's need to be met. And I want you to or you can make a wrong decision that will set your life back years, or it will cause a tarnish to be on your name that will cause you to miss out on something that can be great for your life. So I just want you to be encouraged right now to make wise decisions. Make wise decisions about your life and where you're trying to head and what you want to do in life. And, you know, as my good friend, Dr. Sandri says, she said, not to make a decision is a decision. When you don't make a decision, that's a decision. When you make a wrong decision, that's a decision. And when you make a right decision, that is a decision. And you have to be wise in your thoughts and when you do things. And so I just want you to think about the steps that you make. Think about the things that you do. Think about the conversations that you have, you know, before doing them, so that it does not ruin or tarnish, or it actually opens the door or connections to where you're trying to go. And making decisions is really important to building and creating legacy. So I want you to be encouraged. Don't get out there with all the craziness. Don't get caught up into what's going on because people are breaking and stuff, and you get you some free red bottoms. Is your life worth that? Is your destiny worth that? Is it worth sitting, you know, hours and days and years in prison? It's not worth it. So I just want you to be encouraged to make wise decisions. So let's go ahead and move on in the show. I have a wonderful guest that's coming on on with us tonight. He is on with me now. I'm going to go ahead and introduce him. Just stay tuned while we bring him onto the show.
Legacy builder, Robert Grant, CEO of Grant Vision Entertainment. He is also an actor, model, author, singer-songwriter, and playwright. With his latest stage play entitled Beautiful, featuring Tony Grant and Kendra C. Johnson from Tyler Perry's Love Thy Neighbor. Stay tuned as we experience the journey of how Robert Grant built his legacy.
Good evening, my friend. Thank you for coming on the show with me tonight. How's it going on your end, sir?
I can't complain, sir. I am totally blessed. Thank God for everything. That's right. How's everything on your end?
Everything is wonderful. Everything is prosperous. I do apologize that I'm dealing with a little slight delay. It seems like I'm moving in slow motion on the left, but nevertheless, everybody can hear me well, and I'm glad you can hear me as well. So I'm glad you came on. I am applaud you in some of the efforts that you have done and what you're doing in life through your career. And I just wanted to bring you on to really share your story and just to kind of inspire others that are trying to go along the similar career path that is interested in getting into the film industry or getting into stage plays or even modeling and things of that sort. So kind of tell us a little bit about you, a little bit where you're from, and kind of a little bit of your upbringing.
Well, for me, born and raised in a small city called Tryon, North Carolina is where I was born. I live in Charlotte now. I lived in Los Angeles for the last 20 years before coming back home. I grew up where I had three strong women that raised me pretty much, taught me how to love God, taught me how to believe God, how to believe in myself. And I was blessed to be raised by some wonderful women, which was my grandmother, my mother, and my Aunt Chris, who I love. I love these ladies like no other.
Nice.
Grew up around music, learned singing from my mother. I think I've always heard my mom walk around the house singing and blessing God. She was professional, but she gave it up. She had three boys to raise, so she kind of went and did her own thing
Nice.
for the church. Basically, how I fell into loving music and loving different aspects of music or entertainment is, I think I was maybe 9, 10 years old, and I heard my mother sing. But you have to understand, I heard my mom sing forever.
Indeed.
But this particular Sunday, my mother sung this song, "Give Me My Flowers Before I Die."
Wow.
And I was messed up at 10 years old. I knew exactly, me and my brother, both brothers, we were like, wow. But for me, it just took it to a whole nother level just to hear her actually sing. I've always heard her sing, but she sung that particular Sunday morning and just had me in tears. I was crying, that whole thing. So born and raised, grew up in the church, singing in church, playing drums, doing a number of things, So I think it was inevitable that my family ended up doing some things in the entertainment business, not just myself. I have a brother, I have nephews, nieces that are so powerful when it comes to singing. I mean, I have some amazing family, cousins,
Nice.
everybody, just amazing.
Nice. So interesting. You mentioned that you kind of, I too share in that. My mother is a phenomenal singer. She's actually watching the show as we speak.
Hey,
And I
mama.
too grew up. I too grew up listening to her singing around the house and all that. And similar. I didn't grow to be a singer. I can, write. I can hear parts. I can teach and all that. So I kind of, similar upbringing, being in a house with music and it was a music lover as well. So that's interesting. So you mentioned that, you grew up in a house with music. You have siblings that grew up singing and kind of getting into the entertainment in that regard. How did that build? How did the connections for that happen? Was it, you all were singing in church and then somebody discovered you and it opened up doors? Kind of paint that picture for me.
For us, I think it started really in church. Once we started singing in church and doing different things in ministry, we had people started contacting us for quartet groups.
Nice.
I sung in one quartet group. I did do that. I was part of a lot of choirs. I think the one choir that we had was called, it was phenomenal. It was called Green Creek Mass Choir, where I have all these voices brought together, kids. And the lady that was running, Miss Mamie Jackson, we call her Aunt Mamie, who put it together, she saved a lot of kids' lives. It gave us something to do. It kept us from running the streets, at 16, 17, 18 years old, kids. She got us in there. She brought us in and she raised us basically singing. When I think hearing my mother was one thing, I didn't set out to say, okay, I'm going to be this big time singer. I'm going to do this, do that. I didn't do that. I think it was more my brother's thing, which he's really phenomenal at. But I think how it worked for us, though, it was church. People saw us at church. When I went to Los Angeles in '92, it was basically the church. All I knew, I went out there for one thing, but it was the church that did it. Traveling with Bishop Clarence McClendon at Church of the Harvest, just different things. It was a phenomenal time. He basically taught me about worship.
Wow.
I went from the small church back home, we learned things, the hymnals, which are good. We need to get back to those.
Right.
which are the hymnals and the psalms and so forth. But then there was another thing that happened, what they call praise and worship, and he taught me pretty much everything about that. So from that point, it kind of just went. All of a sudden, I was being called, can you come do praise and worship here? Can you come do this? Can you come do this? And so that's basically how I really got embedded in the singing part of it. Now, far as the acting and modeling happened again in Los Angeles on 3rd Street Promenade. Back then, I had hair down to the small of my back, what we call
Nice.
dreads. But mine wasn't really dread because I didn't lock them. I just got them twisted every week. So God saw me sitting there on 3rd Street Promenade and said, hey, man, hey, you got that look that we're looking for, because that was the new look coming in.
Right.
And that's basically how that got started. It was real simple. I started doing it. All of a sudden, you know how you have the barber books in the salons and everything?
Right.
All of a sudden, they started calling me, hey, can you come be a model for this? And model for... And that's basically how it happened. And this went from there. So I've really been blessed. Things that I really didn't look for just kind of just fell there. God had a plan.
Indeed.
That's basically how I look at it. He has a plan for every one of us. We may not understand at the time, and we may have different ideas on what we want to do.
Right.
But if you trust God and believe in what He wants you to do, His direction is always easier than the direction that we take. When you start making your own decision, your own direction, you will jack it up. You allow people's feelings, people's thoughts to hurt your feelings. But I'm past all that. I don't worry about what people have to say. I do what God wants me to do, and I focused in on that. So that's basically how that pretty much started. Far as acting, I can only speak for myself, but for my brother, it started a long time ago for him. I think he's been doing it almost 30 years now.
Nice.
Long before I ever started to do it. Granted, it was a lot of times they say, "Oh, you Tony Grant's brother, ain't you?" I know you can sing. I know you can act too. So they started pulling me in. When at that time, I really wasn't interested. I really wasn't. I was not interested. But hey, it is what it is. So now I'm at a place. God has put me in a place where now everything that I do is for other people. Nice. Every show that I write, I'll see a person, and I'll give you an example. There was a lady in our show called Beautiful, and her name is Cecile Gist. And I looked at her and I watched her, and just the way she presented herself, it was like God was speaking to me. I wrote this show for her, and that's just how it normally happens for me. I love writing for other people. Even though I do it, I had no intentions of writing.
Right.
Writing just fell in my lap. I hated English. Like, how am I write, Lord? I don't even like English. I hated English. And so you get put into that spot where it's like, sit down. But if I could tell you that story about how I started writing, it would floor you. It was something else. So basically, that's about it. I think that's the gist of it. We kind of just, I don't want to say it found us,
right?
But it kind of did. It just found us.
Well, I'll say it like this. I'll say it when you're in the right place at the right time, doors or connections open up to you. I kind of talked about this to a certain extent on one of my episodes about, being how I used to sit at Panera Bread and do work. And every time I would go there, I would meet a connection or I meet someone. Or if I was going somewhere, I end up running into someone. And sometimes it's just being at the right place at the right time, and destiny will meet you right where you are when you're at the right place, when you're right at the right time. And so I just look at how that scenario, when somebody saw you and they said that you had that look and they decided to get you into modeling, and then that began to open up other doors for that or what have you. It's timing, it's proper place, just like I just said, earlier, if you make a false decision, you wouldn't have been there at that time. Right. Maybe what if you decided you took a nap that day and just wanted to lounge in, and you would have never met that person, so it's, that's essential to a part of our lives is being at the right place at the right time. That's how things happen, you know.
But I think you also got to be. Sometimes you can be in a place of brokenness, and what I mean by that is, I was in a place of of brokenness. I had just lost my grandmother some years back, and my grandmother, to me, my brothers and my cousins, and you have to understand, my cousins are like my sisters. It's just that type of way with us. It's like people, I'm like, oh, hold up. But anyway, that's another story. But it comes from being broken. And I think for me, how I started writing was my grandmother I remember when she died, how bad it hurt. It hurt for years. It took me years to get past that point. And I remember one weekend I sat down, I was at home, just broken. I was like, God, I just don't know. So I remember God saying, okay, I need you to go in that room and sit down. So I sat down like I'm sitting here, sat behind a computer. And he said, I need you to write. Bro, I started writing and I wrote and I wrote and I cried the whole time writing that book called Dream. And I did it in 2 days. I wrote that book in 2 days. And when I wrote it, I sent it to a friend of mine down in South Carolina, Pam. And I wanted her feedback. And she gave me what to do, why I should do it, and the way I should do it. And even then, my manager took it and basically just did it herself. So, but what I'm saying is, sometimes God will take your brokenness, give you something, and at the same time, that something is a healing process. Because he made me understand this was for you to heal. I needed you to heal because I was holding on to stuff. So I need you to heal. So me sitting there writing that book, it did start something in me where now all I do is love to write when I didn't want nothing to do with it. So again, like I said before, I love writing for other people. I love writing these shows for different people. I love the fact when I come into contact with some amazing other people. Here's the one thing I don't do. I don't hate on other artists. I don't hate on other playwrights. I don't do that. I try to love them and support them with everything I have. There's some fantastic people I have really come in contact, like Rona Neely, Pat Styles, some other folks. I just can't think of names right now, but they are some amazing people. Trina Kershaw. I mean, I've come in contact with some amazing people that when I was being broken, they were there.
Yeah.
They were there. It was like, okay, God, it's your timing. However you want to do it, let's do it. And so when God comes in and he does something, which in my mind, in my heart is everything that I do, I believe that it's orchestrated. I don't have anything to do with it. God says, okay, I need you to go this direction and do this. I don't stop. I just do it. I write it. I write for other people. I just love writing now. That's the way I love doing it.
Indeed.
I love giving anything that's going to give people hope. Anything that's going to give people hope. That's all I want.
Absolutely. I know some of my viewers heard me talk about this before, and he just really validated that. And that, everything that you go through is for a purpose and for a reason. And it's 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, it is for the making of your future or your destiny. And when you are in a broken place, 9 times out of 10, it's going to birth something. It's going to birth some idea, some inspiration. It's going to bring some sort of creativity. You birth a book out of pain. You birth a lot, from out of a loss or what have you. Like I was telling you pre the show, one of my other guests that came on through the loss of death as well, birthed a whole series that's graduating to being a whole plethora of other things. And we look at so much of the negativity of why things happen to our lives instead of because we get so caught up in the pain. We get so caught up in the suffering or the loss that we don't realize that there is really purpose connected to this, that we're able to, it's able to be utilized for something greater or what have you, or to inspire someone else's life because you endured that process. So, interesting that you birthed that book out in 2 days. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
one weekend, like I said, it's like God just said, have a seat.
Yeah.
Cause when I tell you, man, when my grandmother passed, it was the worst thing ever to me. It was just, I couldn't let go of it. I never cried. I never did any of those things. So I realized there are a lot of people that are going through that or may have the same situation. When you get to a place, I've come to understand, Bishop Jake said this one time, and he was making me understand that a lot of things that we go through or that we do, it ain't for us.
Yeah.
It's for someone else. And so when I got that in my head and learned it and understood that everything that I go through, it's for someone else. Yes, it don't feel good. It don't, trust me, a lot of times
Yeah.
it don't feel good. But knowing who God is, knowing who you are, you're basically able to do some tremendous things that you don't think you can do.
Right.
You'll be amazed at some of the things that you can do. I encourage young people all the time. You don't know until you try it. Just try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Just try it. Do something different. Don't follow the norm. God has a plan for each and every one of us. Nobody is supposed to be the same. Nobody's supposed to do the same thing. Nobody's supposed to write about the same thing. We are not. We do not have to be in competition with one another. If our goal is the same, if your destiny is the same, it's to reach people, to reach young people, to reach your old people, whatever the case may be. We can work together. We don't have to be this separate entity when we all can come together. Your show, your legal, legacy builder. The more that you can grab a hold of people's ears, give them something positive to hear or even think about. Give people something to think about. And that's
Indeed.
basically why I write what I write, because I want you to think about it. Beautiful was written. I wrote Beautiful. It's a play about this beautiful young girl. I wish the girl that played Addison was the most amazing kid. I knew that without her, there was no Beautiful. It took me months to find this kid to play that part. And she was phenomenal. Never acted, never did anything before in her life. And she pulled it off. But anyway, what happened is when I wrote Beautiful, it was basically about abuse, things that women go through, the whole nine. I'm sitting there asking God, I'm like, wait a minute, God, why you got me writing this? I'm a man. I'm like, I want to know, Lord, why am I writing this? Somebody else should be writing this. But
Indeed.
I realized and I understood, okay, just trust the assignment. Trust where I'm sending you to do it. Just trust the assignment. And then once I did it and people started inboxing me, telling me their stories, I'm like, oh my God. We never know what people are going through. Never know. They wear a mask. They can't be, they hide it so well, but they're hurting so bad. There were so many women that were reaching out to me. The one thing I try to do when I do a show is to make sure there's resources for them where they can go. I don't want to do anything that there's no resources for them to go where they need to go to get help, because you just don't know. Even my own cast, there were people who went through stuff in that cast. I had no idea.
Wow.
But that was part of the healing process, those cast members. So we're working on it. I have someone that's talking to me about doing a movie about it. And
Nice.
I want to do anything that's going to help. I just want to help people. I want the attention brought back to what these women are struggling with. I had someone, it was funny, she hit me up in Messenger maybe a week ago or whatever. She said, okay, now, Robert, are you going to write something about what's going on right now? As far as the pandemic and the, the Black Lives Matter. Okay, Robert, you going to write something with this? I said, no, God ain't gave me anything yet on that yet. Now I'll sit down. But he gave me other stuff, but just not that. But everybody's looking to see, okay, what's he going to write this time?
Yeah.
What's he going to do? So I just want to write. I love it, man. I love writing stuff that makes a difference. I want to give people hope. That is my thing. I just want to give people hope. Especially now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really, it's really needful right now. And I do want to kind of like hit on something that you said about the play. you said that, you were talking about things that you had never experienced. And here's the thing about when you move and right timing, and you listen to, for those that are non-believers, I'm not, this is not no disrespect to your religious belief, but there's always going to be something that's going to draw you to the purpose or what it is that you're supposed to do, whether it's a voice, whether it's God, whether you feel it's the universe or you feel it's energy or whatever. It's going to be something that's going to draw you to what it is that you're supposed to do. And
Right.
interestingly enough, you moved on what it is that you were inspired to do, even though you never experienced it, and then
Right.
realize that you were divinely given wisdom on to write a story about somebody's experience that you never experienced. And so some people think that it's always based on somebody else has to experience what it is that you're going through in order for them to
Right.
shed light to a situation. But sometimes somebody can just get divine inspiration. Somebody is able to either look at other people's lives and heard their stories and really paint pictures to an experience, and still provide a resolution or an exit strategy or way out on how to deal with that situation. So I applaud you on doing that. I want to kind of go back to your book a
Sure.
little bit. You mentioned your book. Tell us a little bit more about the book. I know you mentioned that it was birthed from your grandmother's passing, and I believe it was called Dream is the name of the book,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
kind of
This
tell us a
particular
little bit
book.
more about the book.
Yeah, this particular book is called Dream. You can find it on Amazon right now. I don't have any where to send anybody, but anyway, it's called Dream by Robert Grant. Um, Dream is basically, it talks about my. I put it in a way where it talks about it's a lot of my life, but it's got a little bit of embellishment in it as well to make it what I need it to be, what God gave me to be. But Dream is basically about a young man, which this is also being done as a play. Um, it was the first one that people were interested in as filming down in Atlanta. This protection that I'm coming down there, but my
Nice.
brother is the headliner in that particular show, which
Okay.
is haven't happened yet. Movie, the whole nine. So basically, what it is, it talks about a young man who basically he sings. He's a powerful singer. He's all he wanted to do when the time he heard his mother was sing. He wanted to perform. He thought he was Michael Jackson, New Edition, whatever. That's the kind of thing that he wanted to do his whole life. So when he finally made it to that place, his grandmother was always telling him, "Okay, son, make sure you keep God first. Make sure she was always grandma was his heart." So once he lost grandma, his world. But let me back up. He did meet someone that he loved. They married the whole nine. But when he lost his grandmother, it kind of took him to a place that he'd never been before.
Mhm.
So now that he's in this place, he didn't have grandma to tell him how to get out the place. He's
Wow.
someplace he's never been before. And I think that's what happens a lot of times, especially with in my life at one time. I was in a place where I had lost my hope and I had lost my faith. I was
Wow.
in unfamiliar territory. So I didn't know how to get myself out. A lot of times it takes mama's prayers to get you out.
Right.
So I had people praying. But basically that book is like I said, I I don't want to tell you everything. I want y'all to go out and get it,
Right.
read it. And once the movie comes out or the show comes out, powerful singing. Um, like I said, it's basically about one man's dream. It's
Yeah.
about his dream. This is what he wanted to do, but at what cost?
Yeah.
There's a cost. So at
Indeed.
what cost? But the main focus of that is how the death of his grandmother changed his whole life. And the fact
Wow.
that even as a singer, let's say performer, not a singer, he was getting older and he was seeing the younger generation take his spot. So people don't realize people got to deal with that too.
Right.
When unless you Charlie Wilson and you start feeling and you start feeling irrelevant because of the youngsters in behind you, it's rough. It's
Indeed.
rough. You got to be able to know when to say, you know what, it's your time, young man. Go ahead, do your thing. It's your time. A lot
Absolutely.
of people don't, there's some people don't want to let that go.
Absolutely.
They run out. They run out of time.
Yeah, they
But
don't
that's
want to let
basically what it's
the
about.
other person shine and give them space and opportunity. Absolutely.
Yeah, because we find it hard sometimes to let go and let that young man take it. The one thing, even with when I was teaching um, on praise teams, even though I was a praise leader and I was doing all that, I made it a point to say, hey, look, I ain't gonna be up here all the way, always. You
Indeed.
people gotta step up. You young people, hey, come on now. The next generation, keep it going. Just keep it going. I'm not trying to stay here longer than I'm supposed to. We're trying to get you ready. So let's do that. So that's
Absolutely.
like I said, my whole thing is I just want to make sure um, we help people as much as can, especially our young people. I love my young people. I wrote a show for them. The cast, the young people that I had, I just love my kids. I love them. I love them. I love my young people. So I try to do stuff to help them. When we have an opportunity to do something that makes a difference in their lives, make them feel good about themselves, make them see something that there's anything other than just sitting on a cell phone all day.
Indeed.
Hey, here's some lines, study them. Let's get you in here. Let's teach you, you got a dream. Come on. It's okay. Let's do it. I ain't gonna get mad at you. Let's do it.
Indeed. Indeed. So I know you mentioned earlier that you were in California. You were doing some things in
Mm-hmm.
California with your career. What
Correct.
landed you back home and back to Charlotte or back to North Carolina? One would think, okay, well, you're doing, some singing, you're doing, doing music, you're doing acting and things of that sort. Things seem to be going well, or what have you, in California. What prompted the move to come back to home, or the home
That's
region?
kind of twofold. I came home. I needed a break anyway. California was, whew, man, it can be rough. So
Indeed.
I needed a break. My mind was spent. Besides working and doing traveling with music and doing that thing, I still held a full-time job too. Basically, I've been in IT engineering since 1989. So
Nice.
I was steady doing that, working all the time, and just different things started happening. And I said I need to go home for a break. And at that time, I came home, but I was preparing to go back. I had myself situated. I was ready to go back to LA. And then I had got some pretty bad news that around Easter. My son had been in a very bad car accident, and I lost my son in 2017.
Oh, sorry to hear
So,
that.
my oldest son. So I um, never really went back. My mother was dealing with some stuff with her health as well. My mother is a miracle twice.
Wow.
She's dealt with cancer and beat it both times. When we did her cancer, it's I'm telling you, God is good. That's all I can say about that. But that's basically what had me there. Now, don't get me wrong. There are days I think, okay, I need to get back out here and leave. Go head back.
Right.
But then the pandemic hit. We
Right.
ain't going nowhere.
Not
So
going nowhere.
yeah, I was thinking about several different things. But as I said, that was pretty much, without getting into a whole lot of it, that's pretty much what got me here and kept me here for as long as I've been here. Now I've been here since then. Like I said, when that happened.
Nice. Now, I understand that, like I said, everything is about timing and everything is about, you never know what you could have been met with when you got there, or you never know what is being held up for you for the right timing. So when you go, everything this purpose for you is going to open up exactly. So everything is about timing and season. So,
It is.
Yeah, so sometimes we can't get so caught up on I wanted to go now, and there is a strategic reason why things do not happen the way we want them to happen in the timing. And so I do apologize to hear about your loss of your son, and that I'm glad that you're still moving stream ahead, in life and in purpose. So I know that your beautiful play has already run back in
Right.
2019, right? So what is the next big project that you're working on? What's the next big either film or play that's on the move for you?
Well, okay. Well, beautiful is they have asked us to bring that back, so we're definitely bringing that back as soon as possible. But the main thing that we have coming out, actually, there's two. Jesus, I got three coming out about the same time.
Nice.
I have the main one though that I'm really excited about and focused on is called Champion. This one is a all male cast with some of the baddest singers on the planet. Let me tell you,
Wow.
these brothers can sing, they can sing. And the way I wrote it is phenomenal. The Champion is an all male cast featuring myself, my brother, um, a gentleman named Pat Styles, Jeremy, Lil John. Um, I have a there's all forms of music in here, from an R&B singer to gospel singer to a rapper to a poet. I've
Wow.
incorporated all these people into this production, so that's major. Also have a show called Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow is basically pretty much going to be a church tour, reaching out to the churches, and once churches are able to do what they need to do. But this one is real straight to the point.
Mm.
The reason it's called Edge of Tomorrow because we don't know about tomorrow. Where would you be, and where will you be, and what you be doing, and so forth. So it deals with some issues, but at the same time, there's a rapture.
Yeah.
So that's what that's about. It's a tour that's going on tour. It's a play that I'm very excited about. A young lady brought me that idea and took it, wrote it, and my plan is to have that thing tour, church tour. And then there's also, I had mentioned it earlier, a show called that was in Greenville, South Carolina, at the Grafx Center, and it's called The Soul of a Woman. It's
Mm.
by one of the women that was in my show, Beautiful. That is a part of Beautiful. I wrote this strictly for her, and she's excited about it, and she's starring in it. I don't have the other opposite of her yet, the gentleman, but it's her show, and it's written specifically for her. But there's a total about 7, 8 shows I'm trying to get done in 2021.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing. So
yeah.
what would you say to someone that is actually trying to venture out into, writing stage plays and actually producing that? How did your inspiration start? And then how did you build momentum into, your show actually being a show? Because some people, don't know how it goes from being a vision written down on paper to actually getting into production. So kind of explain a little bit more details about that.
Well, okay. Well, for one, it is not easy. It's hard. You have to surround. First of all, you got to surround yourself with people who are in your corner,
Indeed.
because it's not easy. Um, Me, I was blessed to have some phenomenal people in my corner. I have one lady that was a part of me that I love to life. I will go to bat for her, Tony Nicole, and what she did was was phenomenal. She pushed and you know, she made sure things were done and made sure I did it right. If I was wrong, she'd tell me. But that's my heart there.
Indeed.
Um, but you got to surround yourself with people who have your heart or see your heart. Because for me, it wasn't about the money; it was about the message that I wanted to come across with beautiful. Then you got to find a cast that's can also see your heart,
Yeah.
because everybody comes in with their own agenda. They come in with their own I think only had maybe 3 or 4 people in that entire cast had done a play before. But you gotta get people that really want to see your heart, because everything doesn't go right, and it's not gonna go right. People think everything's gonna be perfect. It's supposed to come off perfect, but it just doesn't work that way. Even though at the end of that show, people was like, "How did you do that?" I'm like, "No, it wasn't me. It was the people." Because my stuff don't work without them. I
Indeed.
never take credit for any of it. It's like without them, it don't work. If
Absolutely.
It just doesn't. I can sit there and write it, but if I don't have them to bring it to life, what's the point?
Indeed.
So far as production is concerned, it depends on if you want to get your own production, do it yourself, or you want to get someone else to do it. Know the people you're dealing with, get to know who they are and what they're about, because there are some people out there just as shady as all outdoors, and will tell you that they love God.
Yeah,
but
indeed.
will take you. But I've seen it. I've sat back. I'll be quiet. And but I've been really, like I said, I've been really fortunate to be around some great people. I really have, and I just always want to be helpful.
Yes.
People can call me. I don't care how small it is, whatever the case may be. If they need my help, it's like, cool, I got you. Let's do it. I don't try to be. I'm not that guy or that woman. Well, I'm not that guy that all I care about is mine. It's just not me. I want to help everybody. I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to do what God has gifted them to do and feel good about it. Don't do something and then have regrets about it. Don't put yourself in that position. Do what you do and feel good about it. If it makes you happy, do it. If you know that God has gifted you to do it, then do it. Just because somebody says what they say, I guess I have that mentality where I just don't care what people say. I just don't. If it's negative, I don't deal with it. I don't get on. I tell people all the time, stop giving people. They get upset and they give them. How can I say it? They will never know that they're affecting you if you never say something. Don't say nothing.
Indeed.
You don't have to respond to everybody's comment. You just don't. Let it go. Don't respond. Just move on. Do what you need to do and keep it pushing, and allow them to see what God is doing in your life. Whether it's R&B, I sing R&B all the time. So it's just, you have to do what you and God are in agreement with. No convictions, no regrets, don't go out there misusing somebody. Don't do that.
Right.
But get what you got.
Absolutely. I want to kind of go back to the lovely, beautiful Tony Nicole. I want to give her a shout out really quick, because if it wasn't for first me being connected to Danny Nicole, which is actually my sister, connecting me to
Danny, that's my girl. That's my sister too, man. You gotta share, bro. You gotta share, bro. That's my sister too, man. Now Danny Nicole, Danny my sister too, man. You can't hog all of it.
That's 23 years. That's 23 years.
I don't care, bro. I don't known her over a year, so now I'm in.
Indeed. So that's how we'll bridge the connection, and so that's how I end up meeting Tony, which actually got me connected to you. So I just have to give a shout out to her for the opportunity to get me connected to you. And I also want to just share one phrase to my dear friend, Poly Cotton Blends. She knows exactly what I mean by that. Look, I know you know what that means, and we're gonna hear more about Poly Cotton Blends when she comes on the show at the end of August. So stay tuned to that, because it's going to be a great show. But I also want to talk to you, talk to the point that you said that you build relationships with people that have strengths in areas that you did not. And this is a misnomer by people that are trying to build something. They think that they have to do it all. They have to do every facet, every aspect of it, from writing it to producing it to cleaning, setting up the show in the backgrounds and design that and create that and teach the actors and produce the production and usher the doors and do the tickets. And you're doing way too much. And sometimes you just need to bring in people that have a level of expertise. And sometimes we hold on tight to the vision that we won't relinquish over responsibilities over to people that have a great skill. Tony, and for the short time that I've been knowing her, I know Tony is very much a perfectionist. And so I know when she's about getting something done, she's going to get it done by any means necessary. And so when you have people that's like that's visionaries themselves connected to someone that's a visionary, all they're going to do is bringing their creative juices together to help bring it to where it needs to be. And so I thought that was an excellent point that you brought out, that you couldn't do it by yourself. You had to.
I couldn't, because and I'll be truthful. I made some mistakes on my first one. I made some mistakes, and Tony was there to say, "Hey, look, you're doing too much. Take it out your hands. I got it," or whatever the case may be, or we'll give it to such and such. Look, I messed up trying to handle stuff, pay people. I mean, just thinking I did one thing and didn't do it, forgot it, whatever the case may be. And Tony was like, "Robert, okay now." And so now Tony could ask me to do anything on this planet and I'll do it. There's nothing she can ask me that I wouldn't do to help her in any shape, form, or fashion. So when she calls and says, "Okay, Robert, can you do this or that?" Really? I look at her like, "Really? You gonna ask me that?" Tony, come on, really? You gonna ask me? So I got you. I will always have it. And I tell her that all the time. I said, "Tony, I don't care if when you get married and you got 50 kids, I got you."
Right.
So, and that's just how I feel about Tony. She is just the sweetest. Her mom, all of them, they are just the sweetest people. And the people that she got me into contact with, like Kimberly Newsom, awesome woman. I mean, just now she fine too, but she awesome. No, I'm just kidding. She good people. She good people. Danny, Latanya. I mean, just different folks that she's gotten me, just met in contact with her. Make our trips to Atlanta to get some popcorn.
wait.
Atlanta to get some popcorn.
Because I'm from Chicago and can't nothing beat Garrett's popcorn from Chicago.
Man, that girl got me turned on some different flavored popcorn. I'm like,
"Oh, no, you gotta go to Chicago, my friend. You gotta go
great
to my
popcorn.
home city."
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I'm gonna find a way to get some Garrett's to you so you can bless your whole life. And
okay.
Chicago.
Because I yelled at her one time. She came back with a whole trough of popcorn. Like, wait a minute, can we do that? Bring me that? Oh my God. And then she took me to this mall, man. These people lied to us.
Wow.
We went to this mall. I don't remember the mall. You have to ask Tony. And we went and we got food. And we got the food and we sat down with it. And we started eating it, bit in the cornbread. And I said, "These doggone Asians is lying. There's some black people back there cooking this food." It was so good. Oh my God, we had to go back twice, man. I was like,
"Wow,
come on, somebody back there lying. Somebody back there lying."
You say that was in Atlanta?
Was so good. Oh my God.
Oh,
I don't know where Tony found it at, but it was good.
I haven't found nothing yet in Atlanta that was wonderful. Nothing yet. So you definitely gonna have to tell me about that one.
You better ask Tony. I'm telling you, that girl hooked us up. It was so good.
It did. Well, I mean, that just goes to show that she's very resourceful. She knows the who's who and the knows. And just to have somebody like that, that's one genuine, because she's a very genuine person. And I know we're taking a little bit of moment to kind of talk about her a little bit, but that's I gotta give honor where honor is due. But you have those type of relationships with people that can help you, but not only that they can help you, but you also help them. That's how relationships should be, especially in business relationships or friendships. It should be a give and a take. It shouldn't be just one-sided. And that's how you have good lasting friendships, but also able to do business with. And that's amazing. That's
And that's
amazing.
how that's how Tony is. She's amazing. I mean, I now don't get me wrong. I used to have to kick her butt sometimes because Tony. No, seriously though, seriously, bro. When
Allegedly.
I tell you that girl is, when I tell you that girl is gifted,
Indeed.
she has some things. I'm like that diva movement she got. I'll be on her all the time. I'll be like, Tony, come on now. Whatever I need to do, I'll do it for free. I'll
Wow.
make whatever you need, girl. Let's get this. That girl is so gifted on what she does. The talk shows that she put together. I think
Yeah.
she has what, 2 or 3 of them now that she
Yeah.
has,
Yeah.
something like that. I'm like, see, now she's really stepping into her element. That girl is gifted. So I thank
Indeed.
God for her. I thank God that I know her, and I will always, always, always be very appreciative of what she's been for me. Love her mom. That's my mom. You know, me and Danny getting a fight whose mama it is. But
Indeed, her
funny
mom
thing.
is wonderful. I tell you, and
Mhm.
anointed. When the first time I met her, she gave me a prophetic word and didn't know me and knew, and God had revealed some things to her about me. So she is definitely amazing
Yeah, great
woman as
family.
well. She comes from good stock, definitely.
Yeah, great family, great family. But yeah.
Indeed. So you mentioned that you have a couple of shows that's on the horizon for you. I know that you acted in some different plays and films, and I do understand that you've been in some Tyler Perry projects as well, just like your brother.
No,
Um,
actually, no. That's just him.
oh, it was just him. Okay, I thought
Yeah,
I read
just him.
something. I saw you were a part of a Tyler Perry production.
More like in the background.
Oh, got
I'm
you.
in the background. I let
Hey,
them
you was
heavy
there
hitters
for
do.
the stage.
I stand in the back, let them heavy hitters. Because the one thing about me, here's the thing about me. I'm different from everybody else. If I could be in the background, I'm happy as all I do.
Indeed,
I don't
indeed.
have to be in nothing. Just let me be in the background. Let me I'll sing back up, whatever. I don't need to be in front with a mic on my hand. Just let me just be a part of the excitement. I'm good. I'm cool. But
Indeed.
sometimes they're like, you ain't supposed to be back there. They'll just push you, thrust you. And that's when you know. My grandmother used to always tell me, um, she had this saying in church: don't go walking up to the front pew and then have
Mm,
to be escorted back. Just
exactly.
sit back there, be humble, and then they can move you up to the front if you need to be in the front. She used to say that to me, like, don't go run up there, no one thinking you all that, and then they got to move you to the back.
Indeed, indeed,
Oh, she used to
indeed.
kill it. Oh, she
You know,
had me rolling with stuff.
you know what's so funny? I was watching a little mini documentary, and it's old. It came out, I think, maybe in the '90s about Luther Vandross and how he started off doing background, and how
I remember that.
like yeah, and how like what's the song? That song "Part-Time Lover" was on my mind about 2-3 months
hmm
ago, and all I could hear is Luther, but I totally forgot that it was a Stevie Wonder song. But Luther Vandross' voice is all the very dominant throughout that song.
Yep.
And so I was looking at his this little mini documentary, and it was talking about how he was connected to Roberta Flack at one particular time, and she said, "You need to be out front just like us." And he was
Yep.
like, "I'm fine doing what I'm doing or what have you," but she kind of respectfully fired him, so to speak, and was like, your service is no longer needed. But the money that he made from doing background vocals for her is what he was able to take to the studio and came straight out the gate with
Yep.
a #1 hit, straight out the gate, first project, because he was already doing jingles before he did background singing. Then he graduated to background and just started singing background for all these major people. And because people had already been familiar with his voice, now they got a face to the voice with a project. And so everything is timing, just like you just said. Instead of trying to push yourself to the front, be escorted. Be escorted. And when
Yeah.
it's your
When
time,
it's your
they're
time,
really good for
they'll be there. But a lot of times we get ahead of ourselves, we get ahead of God, and we try to just make things happen on our own and end up basically jacking it up,
you.
messing it
Indeed.
up. And I'm at a place right now in my life where there's relationships or whatever. My whole thing is, God, I just want to get it right. I don't want to make any more mistakes. I've made enough mistakes in my younger years. Now it's time to do things right and do it the right way. It's time to love people and love them the right way. Don't be so judgmental about somebody's season that they're going through. Be there and love them and encourage them and not tear people down. I don't want any part of being tearing people down. I just don't. It has nothing to do with anything. For me, like I said, I will always do my best to help whoever. At a certain point, I won't do anything to jeopardize my family.
Right.
You know, I still get people now. Can you do that? And it's like, nah, I can't do it. And the reason I can't do it is, you know, I have a daughter who's giving birth in September. I have a mom who's elderly, so it ain't about me. I have
Right.
to, as much as I want to do it, and the money's, you know, right now because it's an unknown to me. I know what everybody's saying and I hear what they're saying, but it's still unknown to me. So
Right.
I can't take that risk of affecting my family because if anything happened to my mother or my daughter, it'd kill me. I know it would destroy me, and I don't want to put myself in that position to do that. I canceled shows because I didn't want to put people in positions to make decisions like that everybody's not capable of making.
Right.
So I took it out their hands and I said, you know what? I'm going to wait and focus on 2021. And I believe in my heart, I believe 2021 is going to be, it's going to be a phenomenal year for this is what I believe, for everyone.
Indeed.
If people will just be patient and do what they're supposed to do, 2021 could be so effective for so many people instead of everybody trying to like, well, it's 2020. This, you know, it's supposed to be my year. It's supposed to be everybody's year.
Indeed.
But I think at some point you have to stop and say, okay, if we just halt, then and focus on, like for me, I'm focused on writing stuff for 2021. Every time I talk about it, I don't talk about doing stuff for 2020. I talk about going into 2021 with my mind and my eyes wide open and say, okay, don't sit around home doing nothing.
Yes.
I know we're in a pandemic. I know, but just don't sit there in front of that. I know. I hear. Now. Don't get me wrong. I do. I do it sometimes too. But when you constantly sit around home binge watching TV, you get nothing done.
Yes.
People, you get nothing done. And if you want to make stuff happen and get something done, you're gonna have to turn that TV off.
Indeed.
Get in that word, whatever it is you need to do, but you're gonna have to turn that TV off. Stop binge watching. And for me, how I keep myself from doing that, I work out every day. I'm at the park. I don't go to gyms. I go to the park. I'm always running. I try to do 5 miles, whatever I can do. So when 21 comes around, we all set to go.
Absolutely. Wow.
So I think that's where we just need to change our mindset. And, you know, and I get it. Here's the big thing that I understand, that I make sure I try to get everybody to understand is you may not be happy with where you at and things that you're doing. I go out here to food banks, shelters, and whatever else, and I see these people. I want people to understand that these are people that are so far off worse than we are.
Right.
Some of us are in bad places. You know, we don't know where our next car payment is going and so forth. And, you know, it seems like nobody cares. It seems like all that. So I have to understand before I be asking somebody to give me their last dollar, I need you to take care of home. Right. Yes, my shows be there, whatever the case may be. Which reminds me, I'm working on something right now. It's called Festival of Praise. I just have in my mind, in my head, that there's going to be a celebration, and I'm going to be prepared for it. And it's going to be where I have all the top artists I can get, especially in that area, whatever the case may be, where it's just nothing but a celebration. Vendors, the whole nine, because people have been set up in the house too long, worrying about things, just stressing, high blood. I mean, just making themselves sick, and I don't know. For me, I just believe that this is all gonna. It's all gonna go. It's gonna go away. God has a way of just doing things when you least expect it. We sit around and we think this ain't never gonna end because can't nobody act right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, you're gonna be surprised.
Yeah.
Right now, don't nobody want to act right. They just don't. And that's why we're in the state that we're in now. But it is what it is.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you said that you're preparing for 2021 because
Right.
you feel like that this is going to be the breakout year. But here's the thing, and I've been talking about this for months now, especially with the Purpose, Health, and Wealth Decade Challenge, is that this is the time that you need to be getting vision, you need to be getting strategy, you need to be making moves, and you need to make preparation, because when the door starts swinging open in favor, you won't be able to seize the moment and opportunity because you were not prepared, you were not ready, you didn't have your vision together, you didn't have your plans, and so you're getting your plays together, you're getting your films, and you're writing and doing all of the things to prepare yourself for what's going to be opening up. And here's the other thing that I found interesting too. The favor that is being given right now, even in 2020, would be kind of harder to be attained if life was just normal, as usual. You're able to get artists that you want to book that you wouldn't have been able to book if we wasn't going through a pandemic, because they're booked out years in advance or what have you. Connections are being made because of this, because people are just mostly at home and they don't have a lot of the time. And I'm experiencing that even right now with doing this Legacy Builder series, connecting to people, having conversations with people. I just had a conversation with another actor just last night, or actually it was almost at midnight. A conversation via Instagram, trying to get him to come on the show, and unfortunately he's dealing with some deaths in his family, so he's not able to come on for this particular season. But we're going to work on next season. But that conversation wouldn't have been had if we wasn't going through these pandemics, because he's not on social media, because he's busy or what have you. And so the listeners that are listening, I want you to take note to that, what have you, that this is the time to make preparation. This is the time to start going and to get ready and to look into and to study and Google and the YouTube what it is that you're supposed to be accomplishing in life. Because when the doors open, you need to be able to seize the moment and opportunity. So I thank you for sharing that. That is amazing.
Yeah, you have to do that, especially now that you've been made to be still.
Indeed.
That's your best time to get in that room and close the door and grab your laptop, start writing, start whatever. Like for me, I can go when I go to the park. My mornings start at 5 a.m. between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. every morning. Even though I ain't gotta get up and go to work, that's just my time. One, because that's my time with God. Two, I go to the park to work out before it gets hot. And a lot of times I can be walking through the park or finishing whatever, and I can hear a song and it triggers something. Yes. I got to hurry up and get back home so I can get behind my computer and start writing it.
Wow.
God gives you inspirations. He gives you business ideas. I have a friend of mine, a lady friend of mine. She is just phenomenal. She's got her granddaughter already having her own lipstick business. And I think this child is either 11 or 12.
Nice.
But she's teaching her while she's at home on what to do. She's asked me, well, can you do a logo or something like that? Hey, we can do whatever you need to do. But she's preparing her while they're home, out of school, making sure she's, have something, teach her something, show her something. And I think that's where we need to be, because we are now at a standstill.
Yes.
I don't want to go into 21 and ain't done nothing in 2020. And then now when 21 hits, I'm struggling to get stuff done.
Absolutely.
I want it already mapped out. I have this book I carry with me. It's a little notebook. And I heard T.D. Jakes talking about it. And he said, everything you do should be intentional.
Yes.
He said, because when you get up to go to church in the morning and you put your suit on, I'm pretty sure you've picked out what you want to wear. It's intentional.
Indeed.
It was intentional for you to dress this way. It was intentional for you to do that. So be that way with everything else that you do in life. Be intentional about it. If you know you want to buy a house, be intentional about researching the process, the whole nine. Be
Yes.
intentional. I walk around with a notebook, and on the cover of it, I took a permanent marker and wrote on the front of it, intentional. So
Nice.
every day, this is what I'm supposed to do on Monday. This is what I'm supposed to do on Tuesday. Everything is intentional. If
Wow.
I'm supposed to research these parks, that's intentional. If I'm supposed to research um, the Douglas building down in Macon, Georgia, that's intentional.
Right.
So you should always be doing something that's intentional because you don't want it all of a sudden. I'm struggling in 2021 because I don't know what to do
Right.
because you just waited. You don't wait. You don't have to wait. We don't have to wait. Like even with your show, do you think you would have been? Well, maybe not, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Do you think you would have been if we hadn't had the pandemic? Do you think you would have launched this at that time?
No, I know that I probably would have been so busy focusing on so many other
Other
things
stuff.
that I wouldn't have thought about this. Even with the Purpose Health and Wealth Decade Challenge, even that I still wouldn't have. I would have just did the challenge for a little bit, and it would have never birthed this.
Right.
So no, it's a lot of things that's going on right now that is literally the domino effect to what's connecting me to purpose because of this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And people are so caught up in the negativity and the deaths, and yes, that is reality. We cannot toss that under the table or under the rug. That is reality. You have to deal with that or what have you, of the losses, and praying for people and all that. However, we can't get stuck there. We still got to live life. We still have to,
Yep.
continue. And so I'm not caught up in all this craziness and all that. I'm still putting forth energy into building and creating legacy. And the more and more that I find myself making moves into that, and the doors and the connections that's opening up for me is so much different than if I was not, in this pandemic. And somebody, I just watched this video just the other day, and I'm praying I can get him on the show. We're actually in negotiations now. He was talking about that the doors that are going to be opening up for you is going to be doors that your talents or your education is not going to open for you. You're going to find yourself at tables with people that is not based upon your educational background or your degrees, that is going to yield favor to you. And that's what I'm experiencing right now, even in myself. But again, it's about, if you're not making moves in the direction towards that it would have never opened up anything.
I had to get myself where the question was asked me. The question that was asked me, it said, "Are you spending more time listening to the news more so than the Word of God or the Bible or whatever, or to God? Let's say to God. What are you
Right.
listening to more, the news or God?" I was like, "Wow, that's a pretty deep question." So I had to think about that, and so I had to start looking at things differently. I said, "Okay,
Right.
God, what's the lesson in this? What's some of the purposes that this pandemic has? What's is there anything good comes out of it?"
Right.
So it just so happened that a football player got COVID.
Mm.
What happened? And then when they found that he had COVID, they isolated him, did the test, the whole nine. Come to find out, he really should be dead because he had a heart condition. Now he had to have heart surgery to fix the problem.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, he would have never known if he hadn't got COVID. He'd
Wow.
never known he had that other problem. So I try to look at things where, okay, Father, you got a plan.
Absolutely.
We going through some stuff right now, but you got a plan. There is something that you want this world to see, not just as a world in whole, but the people itself. Each person has something in them that is so valuable that they haven't tapped into, but now you can.
Indeed.
You have to tap into whatever that is that God is giving you, the gift or whatever it is. It could be the smallest thing, but it's significant.
Indeed.
I don't care how small it is. It's significant. Nobody else can do it but you.
Yes.
I can't do what you're doing. I mean, I don't have me. They make fun of me. They make fun of me all the time. At all play rehearsals, wherever the case may be. They always want me to do Facebook Live.
Oh,
That
wow.
ain't me. I don't like Facebook Live. I don't do it. I don't
Trust
sit.
me, I don't want to be
can't
on
do
here
it. I don't want to be on that stuff. I just don't. Tony makes me get on stuff. Tony
Wow.
Nicole, she made me. But other than that, I don't. Even when they tell me, okay, Robert, you need to do a Facebook Live, telling about your show, whatever. No, I let somebody else do it. Even when Tony did a show a while back and she wanted me to do the show, I'm trying to put it off on the other people that's in the play. I said,
You're right.
Tony, can't you get, let them.
Like, could you just get somebody else to do it?
Can you just get the women and no, you. But it's just me. It's just my way. But
Yeah.
we have to get to that place where take advantage of whatever this is.
Yeah.
I believe in my heart it's temporary, but during that time, take that time to really birth, write down what is it? Write the vision, make it plain.
Indeed.
Once you write it, be intentional about everything you do, even if I don't know, just be intentional on what you do, just like what you're doing. Be intentional about it. If you're
Absolutely.
doing this and this is what you want to do, it's like, okay, God, I expect big things. Because my prayer for you is that it grabs a hold of people's ears.
Yes.
People are looking for something that's positive instead of CNN all day long.
Yes.
Give
Absolutely.
us something else. Right now, it's CNN, and all it is the worst of everything. And
Indeed.
we are so locked in because I ain't gonna lie, I was locked into CNN when it first, especially when the riots had started. Man, I was
Yeah.
locked into that thing like it was nobody's business.
Yeah.
I was locked in it. But then I said, okay, if I'm locked in it here, I ain't out there doing nothing.
Exactly. It's distraction.
Okay, so it was a distraction. I need to get out here and do something, whether I marched or whether I got busy doing something else, whatever it case be. But I was so locked into that, it was like all day long. I was locked into that
Indeed.
CNN, just locked into it. And, I said I had to get away from it. I had to walk away from it. I said, there's got to be more to this pandemic. And I'll say this. I don't have no shame. I did it before. I remember this is how you never know what people are going through.
Right.
Years ago, I was one of those dudes where money wasn't an issue, none of that stuff, but it was just I was just having a hard time with who I was, not knowing who I was, and like I said, I was doing that season where I had just lost hope, the whole nine. And I remember I was one of those cats that just wanted to take his own life. That was me. I don't have a problem with it. It took me years to ever tell anybody that I was that dude. You hear people talk about it. I was that dude. I wanted to take my life. I've gone on the dashboard, wanted to run a car in the tree, whatever. That was my thing. And I won't go into the whole thing, but at the end of that, I'm still dealing with it. I had just come out of it, and I got called to St. Louis to be in a concert. So I went to St. Louis. Was it St. Louis? Yeah, Kansas City. Did the concert on that Saturday night. After the concert, lady said, "Would really love for you to come to my church and do praise and worship for us." Granted, I had no voice. I had nothing left. I had used it all that the night before. But and I normally don't do that. I usually get on that plane, I'm gone.
Right.
And something said, "No, you're to stay." And I stayed, and I went to that church. This little small church, little storefront church, was packed.
Wow.
Packed. And their person was, can't say I was struggling, but it was hard, with no voice. So, and I saw this elderly white gentleman there, and I saw the younger white lady there. So, he belonged there. He was always, my understanding, he belonged there. So, I leave. I go home. I get messaged by this lady, and she says, "Can I call you?" And normally I'm like, "Oh no, no, no." Normally I'm like, "No, give me calling me, no, no, no." So, but at that moment I said, "You know what? Yeah, sure, go ahead, give me a call." So, what I left out was during that service, doing praise and worship, God had said, "Now you can tell it." I had went a year plus without telling that testimony because I wasn't released to do so.
Right.
And it's like at that moment, God said, "Now tell it." So I tell this. So you'd be surprised. You don't have to be in the largest arenas to do something. So
Indeed.
I did it, told a testimony. I got this call from this lady, and she said, "I just had to call you and thank you for sharing with what you shared." I said, "Sure, no problem. That was God, wasn't me." Well, so forth, whatever. And she goes, "Well, you do remember me? I'm the lady that sat in the front of the church." She asked me again. I said, "Sure, I remember. I remember you guys were there." He said, "Well, I was there with my father to tell him goodbye." And I said, "Okay." And I'm thinking like she's going to another city or somewhere she's moving or whatever. And she said, "No, Robert, I was there to tell him goodbye because she came there to tell him goodbye and then leave to kill herself."
Wow.
So it brought to my attention when I say the things that you go through, it ain't for you, because there's no way I could have told that woman anything if I hadn't already been through it. So to this day, and this happened years ago, she messages me, checks in, and say, "I'm good." That's all she says.
Wow.
So we don't know what I tell people all the time, don't judge people's seasons because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know their mindset. You don't know what's going on. I said, you sitting there judging them and talking about them when you really don't get the picture, because
Indeed.
nobody had a clue what I was dealing with. It was like, I'll get up on that stage, perform. I was good at that. I get up there and perform, and God was like one day, said, "Boy, you don't know what you singing about." Like, then after that, I said, "Enough." I had to sit down, like, enough, because he's absolutely right. I have no clue what I'm singing about right now. So I went through what I went through. Nobody knew. My mother, I wouldn't even call my mother, wouldn't talk to her, wouldn't do nothing. Because
Wow.
I didn't want to hear her dropping scriptures.
Right.
Praying. I didn't want to hear none of that.
I want to hear all that right now.
I didn't want to hear all that right now. I
Indeed.
just don't want to hear it. And then I ended up at this church, and he talked to me. But my point is that we don't know what people are going through. Even with this pandemic, I went and I saw working at the food bank. You're not allowed, when we're at the food bank, they have the stacks of food, 6 feet apart, and each person is at that station. And when the car pulls up, they're not allowed to get out the car. They just have to pop their trunk for us to put the stuff in the trunk. That's it. You can't do that. This one particular morning, it broke my heart, man. When I tell you it broke my heart, the lady was there and she's crying and bawling. She got her kids in the car and she's just crying. She wants so bad to just get out and hug my neck, but she can't. She said, "Robert, not Robert." She said, "You just you don't understand. We don't know what we were going to eat today."
Wow.
People, when that pandemic hit and then the riots on top of it, it's rough out there.
Yes.
And I'm encouraging people, if you can, help someone. You may not know their story. You may not even know if they're in need or not, but bless them. You just don't know. You don't know. And so when that lady did that, it broke my heart. It made me understand that people are going through, because even in that area where we are, the buses aren't running. They shut the buses down. So people go They can't go anywhere. They can't go their normal places to get food or whatever the case may be. They don't own cars. We're trying to figure out ways to get them food, to help them. So my whole thing is right now, I think my focus on 2020 has been to help other people. Food
Indeed.
banks, shelters, whatever it is. I see you on the side of the road. I see mothers now with 4 and 5 kids on the side of the road with a
Wow.
sign.
Wow.
Lost their job, don't have anything. I never saw that before. And
No.
it's not, and they're not black. I'm
Wow.
seeing a lot of Caucasian people doing that now, where they have lost everything because of what we're
Jesus.
dealing with. And
Yeah.
I said I wouldn't do it, but you're 45. He just caused me too much headache. Man, get that dude up out of here, man. Oh my God. But anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. You know what's
but we
it's
just
so
gotta get in a
amazing.
place to help people.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm going to share 2 points before I ask you my final question.
Okay.
Because we are at time as far spent. But 2 things I do want to share. You mentioned about the suicide thing, and 2 of the things that to me, this is my definition. This is my opinion. 2 of the things that I find is the most selfish in an individual is when they commit suicide because they believe that their life is their own.
Mm-hmm.
And those individuals that feel like dreams and goals and destiny that God has destined for them, that they can just not do it and not fulfill it and not realize that your life is bigger than you. Your life was always made to be bigger than you. It was always meant to inspire, to impart, to uplift, to encourage, to teach, to push someone, or just live your life as an example. And they are inspired by just watching your life. And every day we don't know who is being inspired by what it is that we do. I look
Right.
at, some of the things, and I was asked a question in a particular meeting of a scripture. What's a person in the Bible that you kind of see yourself as? And I had some difficulty about thinking about that. But then I started thinking about Joseph and how his story was, how he was exiled from his family because he was a dreamer. And was sold into slavery, and how he had to go through all this process to preserve a nation, to preserve a people, to preserve people that was connected to a nation, because there was a famine coming, and had to go through all of that to get to the place to have rulership in Egypt and to preserve a people. And some, just like you mentioned, we go through things, we don't realize the reason why we go through certain things, but it's always for someone else's benefit. Your experience, just even your story, you save somebody's life. Even if you just save one, that's more than enough at that point, to know that your experience saved that one person's life, and it might end up reproducing into other people's lives. So that is an amazing story. My last question I want to ask you before we get out of here, which is the same question I ask all of the guests, is what is it that you want to be remembered by when it's time for you to properly take your ascension on to be with the Lord, not by your own hand, but when it's your time to go home and you take that rest, or you go on to be with the Lord, what is it that you don't want to be remembered by? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
I think for me, I just want people to remember me that one, I love my family. That's just, my family is the most important thing. I just love my family, and I think the next thing is I would really love for people to know me as someone who loves people, because I do. I love everybody. I love people. I don't have a hateful bone in my body towards anyone, whether they done me wrong or they didn't, whether they speak to me or they don't. I love you. That's just me. I want everybody to. I want people to remember that dude loved people. He loved everybody, no matter what. And the only focus that he ever had was to make a difference. He wanted
Indeed.
to make a difference in everybody's life, good or bad. I just want to make a difference. I want to be a light. I want to be someone that, when you see me, like, okay, you having a bad day. You know what? I think I can talk to that brother. I can talk to him. But again, I just want that to be remembered. I want to be remembered as somebody who really loved people. who had a heart for God, of course. God is the number one thing in my life. There's no anything that take his place. But I do want people to understand, I love you. I love everybody. I love you. I love you. I love you. And that's just what I want to be remembered by. That no matter what, Grant love people, man. You know, that's the legacy I want to live. I want to be also just great father. Do my best to be the best father I can be, the best man I can be. Just want to be the best man I can be. But again, I just want people to remember me that man loved people.
Wow.
He do anything for people. He loved people.
Amazing.
Pretty much.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you again for coming on to be with
Absolutely,
us.
Man.
Over 30 minutes.
Yeah, you can blame Tony for that.
Exactly.
Tony, your fault.
45 minutes talking about her, and she actually just came on. But thank you again so much. Hey, you guys, look at the links at the description below. These are Mr. Robert Grant's information here, his Instagrams, his Facebook. I want you to be on the lookout. Follow his pages. He has some great things that's coming up on the scene. Go on his page and ask him about where his books are sold, or look on all of the platforms like Amazon and invest into his books, his stories, and the story of his life in these books is going to inspire you and going to empower you. Be on the lookout for for Beautiful to come back to theaters soon. That is going to be an amazing show. I didn't get a chance to see it last year when he actually produced it, and I actually met him then. But I am definitely going to make sure that my face is in a place when it comes back to theaters. It's going to be amazing. If you came in late on the broadcast, no worries. This episode is still going to be live on Facebook, on YouTube, so you can go back and watch the replay and just hear his amazing story. Again, my friend, thank you so much for coming on to be with me tonight.
Hey, did you just say Tony plugged in?
Yes, she's on.
Okay. Hey, Tony, I just saw the message, but whatever it is, sweetheart, I'm praying for you. If you need me, you call me. Okay. Love you, babe. Bye. All right, man. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for having me, and God bless you, man. Just keep this going, and I'm praying for you that this goes, you and Tony both, that it goes worldwide, because we need that voice. We need to hear voice, positive voice. Okay. So God bless you, my friend. Love you.
You as well, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
So again, thank you guys for coming on to the broadcast tonight. On Wednesday, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a special show that's going to do a recap. Next week this coming Wednesday is pretty much going to be the midway point in between first season of the Legacy Builder series. Yes, you heard me say the first season of Legacy Builder series. So this show is going to be a show that is going to extend on. And so first season, it's going to be through July through September, at the end of September. And so we're going to just do a mid-season recap and just kind of show clips and intermix and talk a little bit more details about some of the stories and the guests that came on that inspired you, and just to kind of expound on some of those conversations and those key points, those good nuggets that you might have missed on some of the other episodes. If you missed them, no worries. Again, you can go on YouTube under Fourg Grafx YouTube channel, and you will be able to see it there. You can also see them here on this Facebook, this Facebook pages as well. So thank you guys as always. Thank you guys for going through the process with me, and the ups and downs and the little tweaks and things that's going on with Legacy Builder series. You know, we're learning as we go and tweaking things as we make it happen. But there's some big things on the horizon for Legacy Builder series, and I'm really, really excited about that. And my friend just prayed into that. So keep the show in prayer. Continue to send encouraging messages, and please inbox me and let me know if any of this show has inspired you, has empowered you, has given you a new lease on life, that made you think of things from a different perspective, or actually giving you some wealth of knowledge that's moving in the direction where you're headed. Well, we've had some phenomenal guests that have come on here in different walks of life, celebrity guests that's come on, and people that's in the real estate industry and the money markets and film industry and playwriting and manufacturing and things of that sort. People that are millionaires, people that are on their way to being millionaires. They're right at the cusp of it, and they came on to share their stories, and I am really grateful for them. And I have to extend honor to every last guest that has come on this show. It wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for you, and it would not be for you all as the viewers. I wouldn't even continue the show if you didn't view. So thank you so much for the love and the support. So as we get out of here, always remember that it's never not too late for you to build and create legacy. You're not too old. You're not too young. You can start right now. Start right now. Start today and start going after your dreams and goals and start to build and create legacy for your life. Thank you guys again, and you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you for viewing the Legacy Builders series. Tune in July through August, Mondays and/or Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with special guest panelists to appear. Want to be a guest or a sponsor? Send your request via email to legacybuilderstv@gmail.com. Till next time, go forth and build legacy.